What is going on, everybody? Mach389 here with another one. In this video, we're gonna go over the RS42 right quick, just because we're updating her shocks. I'm gonna take out the 2-mod shocks and I'm gonna put in some Shergoose shocks. They're a little smaller, they're a little stiffer. I'm just in the mood to be testing things right now. The car is working fine, so why not test off some shocks? I did like the way these performed. These performed very well. The problem is that some of them seep from the cap up top. And I think it's due to the cap itself not having flat spots. As you see, the Shergoose is like a hexagon or whatnot. So you can get a wrench up there, or you can even just grab it by hand and get a good twist on it to tighten it down. You can't do that so much with these here, because as soon as your hands are greasy, and even if they're not, this is pretty slippery. So, you know, the finish on this is very well. And even the piston inside is very nice. So as you can see, you can, let me see if I can grab another one quick, see which one it is. I have them set up different. So as you can see, the fronts drop down a lot more than the rears. So depending on how you set up or how you fill your oil in here, you can get these shocks or springs to respond differently. That's what I do like about these here. So the qualities are very well made and the finish is well made as well. The problem is, like I said, they don't have any flat spots here to get a good tighten, you know, so it doesn't seep through the top here. But they are very nice shocks. So if you want to get a pair of these, just be aware of that. So, you know, over time, your shocks will start to, if you can't get it tight enough or get it to not seep, over time, it will start to affect the way the shock performs. So you must be aware of that. But these Shergoose shocks, for being cheap, these things are pretty well made. They don't leak whatsoever. They don't seep at all, not even through the caps. So I already have 2 set up for the rear. These are a lot stiffer, as you can see. So the springs are really tight on these, and then that little bit of travel that we have there, that is basically as much travel as the shock itself has. That's how I have the shock set up. As you can see, the front one is a little smoother than the rear. So the front, like I said, that's just how I run my vehicles. And in the long run, that may change. But for now, that's what we're gonna run. We're gonna run softer shocks in the front, and then we're gonna run tighter shocks or stiffer shocks in the rear. But it isn't much going on here. I put in a new belt because, as you know, in that test run, a rock got stuck in there. It was more like a boulder, and it, you know, kind of scarred up the whole belt all the way around until it got caught, chipped off a nice piece of the belt. But as you can see, the thread is still intact. So technically I can still use this, and it may even run for a while, but I don't want to chance it. Like I said, it was $8. Got a box of 5, and you know, I'm just not going to use it at the moment. For the Super Nitro, I have the original belts in besides the main belt. So, you know, I still have 3 more left over. I'm going to just keep this one in the stash, because you never know. Something may go wrong with that one. That one may be defective, and it may just break, you know, on takeoff. The next 3 may break on takeoff, you know. I still don't know how good these shocks are, or not the shocks, how good these belts are for the long run. As you can see, let me see if I can get a little bit more light up here. All right. So as you can see, matter of fact, I'm gonna just drop the car down a little. I'll bring you over it. The belt is in good condition. You can see the wear on it is from the bearings itself is going to be hard to rotate it because my rear end is not put together, so I'm not even going to do that for you. But I got my rear end already put in. All I got to do is slap this left side of the bulkhead in, which is right here. I already have it as an assembly. So it just slaps on, throw a couple screws, and it's back together. It's pretty much that easy. But I do want to see how these perform because, as I said, they do seem a little greasy because I didn't wipe them down with anything after I was done. I was kind of in a rush putting these together. So the one problem I did have with these is that they didn't come with any inserts here. And this hole is 6 millimeters. So you're either going to have to buy inserts or have the pivot balls that are 6 millimeters. So you must be aware of that as well. The bottom it does have, so you do not have to worry about the bottom. For both shocks, they come empty. They come with a little bit of oil in them, but they basically come empty. So you're gonna have to dump the oil that's in here or just fill up on top of it. I dumped it out because I don't know what weight was in here, so I just dumped it out and put my own oil. I put 45 weight in each of these, and as you can see, they do react very different, but that is because of the way that I built them. This is a higher quality than this one here, fit, finish, and all. The only part that's lacking here is the cap, like I said. What's lacking here is the piston inside. It's very hard to fill this to have a decent compression where your piston reacts if you don't have the spring on. Because if you don't have your spring and your piston is not reacting at all, because it's just a dampener, but you want it to also react. You know what I mean? You don't want it to just compress all the way, because if that's the point, why even get oil-filled shocks? So you want that oil in there to dampen it, but you can adjust how much dampening you want on your oil-filled shocks depending on how much oil you put in here, and if you can get a good seal when you tighten this up. As you can see, this one it's pretty hard, but it has some decent, drop to it. Let me show you the rear one more time. A lot harder, and it will not allow it to go farther than that. The problem with the 2-mod, with the leak up top, that after a while, it will start to affect how far the piston travels inside of the shock. So unless I find a way how to tighten those or stop the seepage from top, I'm just gonna use these for now, and then just test these out, see how they go. And if I don't like the way they ride, I'll take them back off, put the 2-mod back on, re-oil these, and see if I can get them to dampen a little different. But for now, we're just gonna keep it like that. I'm gonna slap the car together. Just wanted to, talk to you guys a little bit, not go too crazy on taking things apart or this is what you do and that's what you do. I just wanted to show you what I am doing in general to the vehicle itself. Sorry about that. Give you guys an update. The engine is actually performing very well. If you don't know, this is a hybrid engine from a Force 15 piston sleeve, carburetor, and T15 block head, rod, crank, and I just slapped it together and it works very well. This carb is so much better than the T15 carb. It has a bigger intake and it holds a tune very well. So if you can get this Force 15 carb, I suggest you definitely grab that and throw it on your T15 if you still have one available. Yeah, so just a couple more things I wanted to go over. I did mention that the rod from here is from the T15. No, the rod from here is from the Force 15. the T15 rod had a bunch of slack in it, so I had to swap it out for the Force 15. So the Force 15 rod fits in here. One issue I had riding with the vehicle, if you didn't see in the short, is that I had trouble starting the vehicle, idling the vehicle, and tuning the vehicle. And it was due to the N3 spark plugs I got from HSP on Amazon. And I don't know if it was just the plug itself. Maybe I'll try another one in a future time. But for now, we're just going to go back with the old OS6 plug, which is a hot plug. This one is a medium hot. And as soon as I popped this one back in, the car wanted to start back up. So I just had to retune it because it was such a hard time getting it tuned for this one. I just had to retune it, and it basically started right back up. So I'm gonna have to find me some OS6 plugs or something suitable that works just as well, you know, just to have on hand if that one ever blows up, because that is a 5, maybe plus year old plug. I don't know, could be 10 years old. I really don't know, but that plug has been in this vehicle for a while. Well, not in this vehicle, in this engine. The Turbo Racing transmitter receiver, that does work very well. I'm not gonna lie. I did have jitters, and I figured that I needed servos, which I do need. These are old servos, original. But when I upgraded to this Turbo Racing, I basically have no more jitters. You know, I can turn on the vehicle and my steering doesn't go crazy, acting funny, you know, jittering back and forth. My throttle and brake doesn't do that as well. But with the old system, it was doing that. So maybe it was one too many times dropping the transmitter and the potentiometer inside going bad. But, you know, this one works well. And everything that I'm doing to this vehicle is not you know, run out and go do this, guys. Run out and go do that. No, I'm testing this stuff out, but I am letting you know. So if you want to go out and test it on your own, you know, these are the dimensions of the belts. This is what I did to the engine itself. This is the transmitter and receiver that I am using. And I will constantly give you guys updates on what I do and don't like about the things that I am testing. Kind of like the 2MOD shocks, you know. I love the way these look. I love the fit, love the finish. The quality is actually great, like I said. But if they would have just put a couple flat spots here, made it easier for me to get a nice, you know, torque down on it, you know, twist to tighten it down, maybe it would have stopped the seepage from the top. Maybe it's these plastic caps here, you know, as you can see, they are 2 halves, which most of them are. So it isn't like that's a new thing. And if I pull out the original ones, they're the same way. So, you know, that isn't something new, but maybe I got a defective pair where they just leak from the top. But I feel like if they would have gave me something to grab onto from here, I would have been able to get a nice tighten down and stop that seepage. So that's what we're gonna do with this vehicle. We're gonna swap out for some shear groove shocks. There's nothing else to do to the engine because the engine works well. I am hoping to one day get a new pipe and a header combo, but it's very hard to find one for this particular vehicle, or, you know, any of these vehicles in general.